Washington, D.C., a global center of power, ambition,
and farming.
It's incredible. There's no other place like it in the region. This is a gift.
This is the Agricultural Reserve of Montgomery County, Maryland. 93,000 acres of farms, fields, and forests, just 20 miles from the front step of the White House.
If you imagine being blindfolded, taken to the center of the Ag Reserve and dropped on one of the many farms here, when the blindfold was taken off, you'd never guess you were in Montgomery County.
It's the preservation of open space, of kind of the agrarian culture and the history of the area.
It's a place to rejuvenate, refresh, and restore. And it's also a place that almost never was. In the 1970s, the hair was big, the fashion was remarkable, and the future was impermeable. Pavement meant progress, and sprawl was king. Washington, D.C. was the world's most powerful city, and its population was exploding. Against this backdrop, it took more than a little foresight to set aside farmland and open space. It took political courage and vision. No, not that kind of vision. No, not that one either. This one.
The term smart growth did not exist in 1980. When the reserve was set up, it was designed to support agriculture.
I guess Royce Hansen had a big part of starting all this and had the foresight to do so, because if he hadn't done that then, think of what it would be like now. I just can't even imagine. We wouldn't have any farmland around here probably.
Our vision for the area was one of trying to preserve farmland, to also preserve the cultural and historical heritage of the county. We realized that it was important to preserve as much land in open space and forests as we could. We were fortunate corn and soybean prices hit a historic high, and farmers were more interested in keeping their land in agriculture than turning it into subdivisions. And over the course of about a year, we developed a plan to reduce the density to 1 unit per 25 acres, which our economic studies indicated was a sufficient amount of land for a viable farm in Montgomery County. No one else had done exactly what we had proposed. And initially, people were quite skeptical of whether it would work. We certainly didn't know it was going to become a national model. We hoped it would work in Montgomery County.
In a metropolitan area, it is unique to have an area set aside that can grow our food, that can provide recreation. It benefits our water quality. We're very, very fortunate.
One person who deeply appreciates that good fortune is Lee Langstaff of Comus, Maryland.
So what I'm doing now is just checking on my sheep, which is our primary agricultural activity here. And they're in their breeding groups right now. They've been breeding since August. To keep them friendly and keep them coming, I give them a little bit of food. So one of these is a ram, that one there, I guess. These are his girls for a little while. And I gotta keep him friendly enough so that when it comes time to take him out, I can catch him, because chasing sheep around a field like this is not a good thing. That's Lily. She says, oh, no, you don't. Hey, Lily. I'll be out the other gate. Sheep stay together in their flocks, and they assume the worst of every encounter with any other creature. So if you can learn to think like a sheep, you can manage them more easily. And then right behind it,
As a child, Lee had always imagined living her life on a farm. After working as a professional mediator for many years, she finally had the chance to realize that dream, trading in her office for a pasture.
Everybody still has their coat on, nobody's limping, and nobody's dead. That's always a good thing. Sheep have a way of simply dropping dead sometimes. The sheep business for us is primarily for hand spinning fleeces, and which is why they have coats on. The first question everybody asks is, how come your sheep are wearing coats? And it's to keep the wool clean. It's the difference between $2 a pound and anywhere from $8 to $20 a pound for the wool. We're still trying to figure out what's the best use of this farm and whether we want to sort of take it to the next step and hire some help and actually really start cranking out production. I think that we probably will at some point.
One farm in the agricultural reserve that definitely cranks out production is the 1,500 acres worked by Dave Scott and his family.
Our family bought the farm in the 40s, and I'm third generation farmer. The farm itself is 275 acres, but we lease the rest of it from various other landowners. We grow corn, wheat, soybeans. We can't get it all in here, but I went to college for 1 year and then decided to come back to the farm because I just really enjoyed doing it and working with my dad, and we get along really well together. I've been doing it 30 years now. The thing that drew me into farming was just the love of the outdoors and working with equipment. And every day is different. It's fun. And my wife, the first time she ever saw me was in my combine. I asked her if she thought my combine was sexy. And she said, yeah. So years ago, I was probably about 16, 17, and I was working here on the farm. My father had to go somewhere that day. We're having a 10,000-gallon fuel tank hauled in here, and he said, you're in charge of getting this tank unloaded. So when it rolled off the trailer, it rolled 300 feet down across the soybean field, and it just flattened the beans like a steamroller. My dad came back and he was so mad that he fired everybody that day. But he hired us all back the next day. And my wife's always like, well, how do you go out there and sit in that combine all day long? And I was like, when I get done at the end of the day, I can see what I've done. It is a sense of accomplishment. If it's a good crop, you have you see the grain coming in the tank behind you, and you're filling the combine up every 5 or 10 minutes. You run into the truck and dumping it, and it's just like you're really doing something. I'm proud of it. My parents entered us into ag preservation probably 15 years ago. So the farm will never be built on, and I'm doing everything I can to hang on to it.
Dave Scott's family has worked this land for 3 generations. And there are farms in the reserve with histories going even further back in time. Some getting started almost 2 centuries ago.
We're here at the Button Farm Living History Center in Germantown, Maryland. We are on 40 acres inside of Seneca Creek State Park, and we are proud to say that we also sit inside of Montgomery County's Ag Reserve. Well, here at Button Farm, we use history as a tool for social change, and in particular the history of slavery and the Underground Railroad. We have interactive programs for youth and adults where they come and experience what it was like to actually live on an 1850s plantation, including a simulated journey on the Underground Railroad. We have 40 acres, part of which are in agriculture, where we grow the crops that were grown on old plantations in Montgomery County during the first to middle part of the 19th century. We also have a heritage breed program where we raise different animal breeds that were actually here in Montgomery County during the 1850s. You can get away from the hustle and bustle, come out, commune with nature, experience a bit of the past, and that's a really great legacy.
Life was a bit different back when Button Farm got started. This was the internet. This was a tablet. And this was a guidance counselor. Fresh music sounded something like this. Fashion looked a little like that. And getting crazy? That's right. So what does fun look like in the Ag Reserve these days? It's a big reserve, so there are all kinds of fun. There's food fun, paddling fun, history fun, cruising fun, strolling fun, and biking fun. Not only do visitors to the Ag Reserve get to bike and boat and hike and pick and grow and play, they also get to slow down and just be, exploring the natural landscape that makes all of this possible.
Much of Montgomery County 150 years ago looked like this. There's an alarming number of statistics, kids having nature deficit disorder, not connecting with the natural world the way we did when we were kids. And I think one of the things that the Ag Reserve can do is allow kids to explore. There's a diversity of different kinds of habitats. It's a valuable place for hunters, but it's also a very valuable place for naturalists. There are wonderful opportunities for people to come out here and reconnect with nature.
Another wonderful aspect of the reserve is the chance for people to reconnect with one another and help those going through difficult times.
Montgomery County is one of the wealthiest counties here in our country. While we have great pockets of wealth, we also have very big pockets of poverty. Here at MANA, we are the identified food bank for Montgomery County, so we receive in all of the USDA commodities that come in for our county and allocate and distribute them out to the variety of soup kitchens, pantries, emergency shelters, group homes that need that food to run their program. It's evident to us as we've gone out and negotiated and looked for resources that anything that can be bought closer to home will cost us less. We're not farmers. We are distributors. Our role in this is really the middle person to be able to get access to the food we need and get it to the people who need it. We know that there's direct correlation to the number of maladies that a family can suffer without access to healthy food. We have not only a need, but a responsibility to help feed our neighbors.
Helping neighbors is also a vital part of the mission at Red Wiggler Farm, established by farmer and ag instructor Woody Woodruff.
We grow and sell vegetables as a framework for training adults with developmental disabilities. We can focus on their abilities and the things that they're good at. There's so many different jobs to do on a farm. Everything that we do here, we do through the lens of environmental stewardship. That's seen in our commitment to organic by being certified organic and selling to our community-supported agriculture program. What does really well one year might fail in another year, but because we grow 40 different crops, we can shoulder that volatility. Green shoot of garlic coming up. It's December now. We will harvest this in late June. I love the idea of growing healthy produce for a local community. Employing people with developmental disabilities is part of that. To me, that is an exciting undertaking. There are young people who do feel this draw, people who are hearing the call of the land.
There's 47 acres here that we lease, and we're farming probably 10 of it. The name is Bella Terra Family Farm. We chose Bella Terra, meaning like beautiful earth or beautiful land, because that's what it is. And also it had to be family farm because this is a family effort. I wasn't raised on a farm. I was raised in suburban America. In college, I decided that food was really important, but what I was thinking was, it's not cool to be a farmer, and definitely not what my parents expect of me. So I will take the LSATs and I'll become a lawyer and I'll go to DC and I'll lobby for the sustainable ag movement. So I leased a farm out in the middle of Ohio because I thought, well, if I'm going to pursue this, I better know what I'm talking about. I learned more in that 2-year period of time than I learned all 12 years of regular school, 4 years of college, and I fell in love with it. At this farm, you know, at first farming started as like a way to interact on a lot of levels with my community. And then it gave me a chance to like really find these skills that I didn't realize I had. And then it became a way for me to be with my kids. It's been this evolution of all these reasons why I'm here. And money has not been one of them. But I really need to feel like I'm in the dirt, you know? I'm living it, metaphorically and in reality, like my hands are dirty, my feet are on the ground. You know, it's something you arrive at, something that happens to you.
The lure of an agricultural life is also happening to Sean and Greg, 2 young farmers who established Rocklands Farm in 2008.
I think our curiosity and our eagerness to learn new things, that's really, I think, the drive behind a lot of what we do. This is our vegetable garden. We also grow fruits here. It's about 2 acres surrounded by the fencing. We grow with sustainable principles.
It's not like in other industries where, you know, you can buy equipment and set up and you're ready to go. It really does take some, you know, some foretime beforehand to build that soil nutrition cycle, you know, to get the engine going, the biological engine going. And so we have beef cattle, we have our laying hens, the sheep are beginning to be more of a part of it, and then the goats do more cleanup with all the weeds. And then we also have some hogs over in the woods that we will bring into the pasture for this grazing. So the cows kind of open up the pasture for the chickens, and then the chickens come through, they scratch out with the manure looking for bugs, so they spread the cow manure. They lay their manure as well. And so both animals kind of live symbiotically, and then we march them every day into the next section.
In the future, in terms of expanding it, we really like going more of an education route, staying with our current production model, but teaching people just to kind of give people that physical presence of agriculture and how it's done right in your backyard.
And the urge to farm, the call of the land, seems to be reaching right into the backyards of even the youngest of young people.
And we try to grow tomatoes, really yummy eggs.
Onions, zucchini, tomatoes, and cucumbers. Radish has to be corn. What's it called again? And pepper. Because they're yummy.
Just the fact that it's so hard to produce enough food for a whole nation to eat, that's just so amazing that these farmers work so hard for us.
The Ag Reserve can grow the county's food, clean its water, cool its air. And yet, despite all it provides and all of its gifts, the reserve is at risk.
startup farming, the 10 acres, the 15 acres, the number one impediment is the cost of land.
People on a farmer's salary, which is essentially a starting teacher salary here, people can't buy a townhouse on a teacher's salary in Montgomery County. I don't know how they're going to buy farmland. Property just costs too much here.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest pressures on the ag reserve is the county's growing population. If you look at a map, you see all this wide open space, and of course there's pressure to develop.
With our business, we need a lot of open land because we're losing acres every year to development.
Part of the political problem in some respects is Montgomery County's government makes decisions to put things in the ag reserve because there are so few voters. It's a constant, endless vigil. You can't relax. You need to be on top of all of the issues.
The view across the river. What you see is Loudoun County, sort of put anything anywhere. If you look at a satellite image of the area, you can see instantly what the difference in land use policies has meant.
I think the most important thing is it's not just open space. It's actual agriculture in the broadest sense of the term. Obviously, we have family farming, horticulture, we have a vibrant horse industry, and we think it makes a major contribution to the economy of the county.
More and more people are talking about the fact that residential development does not pay for itself. When you look at property taxes that are generated by residential development, those taxes do not cover the costs of development.
The cost of infrastructure in terms of roads, utilities, more schools, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
And yet,
almost every week, somebody has a nifty idea of something they'd like to go on in the ag reserve. Some other kind of commercial venture that has nothing whatsoever to do with open space or farmland.
People think, well, why couldn't that go into the reserve? Well, one of those wouldn't hurt a lot. One of those can very often create a domino effect, so that soon you've got a lot of those.
The worst thing to happen would be a decade or more from now to have people say, well, there was this really nice ag reserve one time out there, and we didn't know what was happening. Now it's gone.
I do think that one of the biggest challenges the Ag Reserve faces is making sure that it stays relevant to the broader community around here, not just to the people who live in the reserve and who love to wake up here every day. And I am fortunate enough to count myself as one of them, but that's not enough of a reason to have it be a productive and beautiful place. It needs to have meaning and serve as a resource for the broader community. And the challenge is to make sure that that happens, because that, I believe, is the only way it's going to be sustainable into the future.
We should have our children, particularly in elementary school, coming out to the Ag Reserve, seeing what a real working farm is like.
I used to be a teacher, and kids really didn't know where their milk came from, where their eggs came from. They come from the 7-Eleven.
We have kids that come out here from the city all the time, and I take them out to collect eggs, and they just can't believe that that's where eggs come from. What are you going to do with this egg? And I say, we're going to eat it, and they just...
Wherever it is food really comes from, the hunger for it is already here.
We now have relationships with our local farmers, with a half dozen of the local farmers markets. MANA has put in place a farm-to-food bank program that has really ramped up the ability for a family in need to get access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
We're in the kitchen of my restaurant, Chef Tony's in Bethesda. I do my best to offer local farmer produce, Cherry Glen Farms goat cheese, local fresh figs, fresh Virginia rockfish, Honeycrisp apple and Pennsylvania peach cobbler. Good, bold, clean flavors. So support local wherever you go.
People say, oh, it's a fad, those CSAs. Well, yeah, like gyms are a fad.
Montgomery County has a lot of ethnic diversity. There, tons of restaurants, and there's food outlets and fresh markets, and there's a lot of farmers markets. So there's a lot of critical mass that's already been achieved. So I think it might be trying to pair up some of this open land with the current demand.
And Montgomery Countryside Alliance has been working to do exactly that.
We started a program called LandLink. And LandLink is our we'll call it a dating service to get landowners and farmers together and set up creative deals where they can lease or buy or barter for land to get it in farming.
Getting farmers onto land is crucial, but there's still another fundamental issue: how to help make sure that new farmers know how to farm.
There's no question, if you're not going to help train the next generation of farmers, we lose. It's gone because the land isn't going to farm itself. We've got a program called the New Farm Pilot, and the idea is creative arrangements with folks to get them on land with mentoring, the best practices, business models, all the tools that they'll need to make their venture work.
It takes somebody who's willing to stick to it, visit other farms, see how they do it, ask questions. The internet is such a great resource. Having broadband is incredibly important for farmers. Being able to stream YouTube is a way to learn.
And that'll create a nice mulch. You can start to see it 5, 10.
It's about gaining knowledge.
That's how
It's about creating fertility. The people that are going to get involved in it need to have a longer view than 2 or 3 years. They need to have a lifetime view. It's a wonderful life's work. It's farming.
So there's not just one thing that's going to protect the reserve. It's going to take farmers, landowners, decision makers, civic organizations like Montgomery Countryside Alliance, all working together.
To keep landscapes looking like this, looking like farms, looking like rural villages.
We have the opportunity over the next 5 to 10 years to set the example for what a suburban jurisdiction can do.
We should be able to feed ourselves without having to truck it in from thousands of miles away. Water, air, land should be protected. The people that feed us should be able to make a decent living.
Cheap food is not necessarily healthy food. Something I think our culture is coming around to.
I don't think people really know the value of their local farmer yet, but I think they will.
Trying to bring the whole community together around this phenomenal resource.
It's a working landscape. In an urban county with 1 million people in it, that in itself is pretty remarkable.
We are moving forward with getting more farmers on the ground in Montgomery County and getting more of our local population fed with local food.
We're all connected in some way, and we really depend on each other.
It only takes one afternoon of traveling through the reserve to know that we have something very rare and very special.
And it should be modeled everywhere. Every big city should have an ag reserve.
This working landscape is not preserved in amber, but rather an ever-changing and growing legacy for generations to come.